Hi, everybody. My name is Lou Medeiros. I teach social studies here at Island Trees High School, and I welcome you to Meet the Teacher Night. Once again, we're virtual, and I'm happy to go ahead and meet with you for a few minutes just to explain what we're doing here in 11R United States History and Government. So, each of your kids have now been through social studies here for a couple of years, so you kind of have a feel of what goes on here in the department. So I just want to introduce the U.S. history course to you, which hopefully you got, and I'm here in the lower right-hand corner. You might see me here. I'm going to disappear in a couple, but you might have gotten this at home. Hopefully you did after the first day of school, the course outline, and which highlights a lot of the stuff that we talk about here, and hopefully they gave you something to sign. So you could have at least a knowledgeable conversation with your child as to what we do here. So just to reemphasize again, this is a Regents level course. The U.S. History Regents course here at Island Trees High School continues to emphasize the skills that the kids learned down at the middle school level. Stimulus-based questions, reading comprehension, document analysis, an investigation of something new here that's going to be part of a new U.S. History Regents this year, the Enduring Issues essay, and we take a look at these enduring issues throughout American history. Now, as I mentioned, the exam is going to come at a little bit of a different time this year. We will end basically at the beginning of May with our coursework this year. So it's going to change a little bit of what we've done in the past to try to kind of speed up a little bit, especially considering that with this new exam, like they've done with new Regents exams over the past few years, it's getting front loaded into the schedule here. So Wednesday, June 1st, 2022, we will be having the U.S. History and Government Regents exam. So it's an early exam like they've done with Algebra 2 Trig in the past. Initially with global history, at least, that was the plan before COVID hit. And now the U.S. History Regents is now the next one in line here. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. We're going to end the course with an extensive review pretty much at the beginning of May. Although really the whole year is review for the most part, the way I treat it. But, we'll be hitting the review portion pretty much in the weeks before Memorial Day. You see pictured here the textbook that your child should have brought home already. The Americans, it's an old book, but it's still a good one in the sense that really the history hasn't changed so much. But, with the exception of the most recent stuff, most of what we cover is covered in depth within the textbook. They're going to keep that book at home. We've got copies here in school if they need a book. The one thing I'm insisting on, a couple different things. Of course, having pens and pencils to write with. That goes without saying. Having a Chromebook, that's charged and ready to go when they walk into class. Because I mix it up. I'll mix it up between digital sources and written notes in class. And I asked that they bring a 3-ring binder. That's preferable, although I've become a little bit more relaxed as time has gone on and I've gotten older. I mean, some of them like to work with folders. So, I allow that too. In terms of the digital tools, as has been the norm for them, Google Classroom. We did that, of course, on day one, got them all set up with that. Remind, which is our text messaging system that you may be familiar with, and I'm going to encourage you to join as well, and I did on the course outline. So we'll go over that before we leave, for this video. And Quizlet. Quizlet, we do a year-long vocabulary project with the kids that, involves them. Instead of writing all this stuff in their notebooks, each kid takes pretty much every week a vocabulary set that we're going to study for the week for that current topic. They provide the Quizlet set. They get it all set up for themselves and their classmates to study. And then we have a vocab quiz for the most part on a Friday. Now, just to show you here real quick, and I'm going to pop up again in the corner. This here is an example of the note packets. I give skeleton notes in class. And this is, by the time you see this video, we would have just finished this on colonial life. So everything I present in class in terms of a Google slide and so on is right here in the packet. It's pretty extensive and pretty much in depth. And I'm still a big fan of the idea of writing things down. So I give note packets because, as educational studies will show, writing things down helps us to remember things more. So I mix it up. I'll do the lessons with a Google slide, I'll implement some video, but I'll have the note packet to emphasize the important points of what's going on in class. It's like, for me, going to the store and I get a list from my wife about what we need. If it's a text message, I continue to refer to that phone every time. I was telling the kids about this in class, but if I write it down on a list, I tend to remember it better when I get into the store. I mentioned the class vocabulary project on Quizlet. You're going to notice that too. I don't print out homework sheets. I send everything out on Google Classroom as well as Remind with regard to the homework. If you sign up for Remind, you'll see it as well. This vocabulary project, each student, at least once this year, they're going to get a vocabulary set that they finish on Quizlet for the whole class to study. The study involves doing 2 games on Quizlet. I give them a grade for that. So that way they prepare for the vocab quiz. It's basically either you do it or you don't. If you only do one of the 2 games, I give you half credit. Because like I said, we have a vocabulary quiz pretty much every Friday. All right? We also have weekly quizzes on Castle Learning. Your kids are very much familiar with that. They've done it either. I have a couple kids that have been with me in the past, especially in 9th grade, so they know that I do that. They've done it in their science classes. Those will typically be due at midnight on Friday night. Unit exams, I'd like to do it in the middle of the week. Typically, like on a Wednesday or Thursday. I try to avoid Fridays simply because every math teacher in America, gives a test on a Friday. I also check with the kids ahead of time, like a week or 2 ahead, just to see what's coming up so I don't jam them up. An exam, last year, they were pretty much 40 points apiece. I've done 50 in the past. I'm probably going to, when we had the shortened periods last year, I did 40. And those exams now, it's all electronic. So I do everything with regard to, putting them on Google Classroom. We do them with the Chromebook. We do them in class. We try to avoid the paper with that as much as possible. Periodically, I'm going to assign essays, whether it's a DBQ or the new Enduring Issues essay. So there's going to be some change with that. As I mentioned, that's going to be a new essay on the U.S. history regents in June of 2022, as well as some short answer questions. So there's going to be some changes coming up. Projects will be assigned both for the home as well as school. Those will come up periodically throughout the year. When I talk about homework, they're in 11th grade now. And I'm expecting that the student as an 11th grader becomes more self-directed with their work, more responsible. I mean, I do this now even with my freshmen coming up. Time management is so important, a skill that's so important to develop, whether they're heading off to college or heading off to the professional work world upon leaving here. I make homework due once a week, Fridays. And, I asked the kids, I said, listen, I'm not sitting at your kitchen table. I'd be flattered if I'm invited, but I'm not going to be sitting at dinner with you. When you're working or when you have sports practice or some other extracurricular during the week. I don't know. I don't know when you might be celebrating somebody's birthday at home or unfortunately you have to go to a wake. So, you have to work around your week and structure when you do your homework based upon that. Typically, I don't give credit for late homework. I might take a point off if something comes in late and I warn the kids like, hey, you got to start getting in on time. All right. And of course, there are extenuating circumstances. Listen, you're out for the week sick or some other event has happened. And of course, now we could have kids that are out in quarantine or whatever. Those are all taken into consideration. All right. So it's not a, zero tolerance rule, if you will. All right. But you hand it in by the due date, you're going to get full credit for it. Typically, a homework assignment, as you're going to see listed here, is 5 points. Because when I do the grading for the class, I based it on a total point system. I will give a number of different assignments. An exam will probably be 40 points. A vocab quiz, 10 to 25 points each. Castle Learning, always 15 points. Homework is 5. And I'll give extra credit. Every quiz, every test, and you'll see some other opportunities based upon lessons that we do during the year where I'm going to offer a short extra credit assignment. Your quarter grade is going to be based upon the total number of points I offer for the quarter and how many you earn. So if I give 500 points worth of assignments during the quarter and your child earns 450 of them, that's a 90 average. So when I go ahead and do averages, I'm going to give them what they earn, no more, no less. I'm not a teacher's pet type of person that's going to add points on. Your kid could drive me absolutely crazy, and I will have kids to drive me nuts this year. I'm not going to take points off because they're going to go crazy. All right. So it's a meritocracy here. Go get it. Put an effort in. All right, because the effort is usually going to result in that positive grade. When it comes to exams, quizzes, you miss class for an absence, a legal absence or an illness. Listen, you cut a class, and you miss something, it's a zero. Okay. Going to music lessons. Okay. The test or the quiz is going to trump the music lesson for that period. If kid goes to a music lesson and they miss out, they're going to get a zero. But if it's a legitimate absence, I'm expecting that the student make up that exam or quiz on the day they return. Again, extenuating circumstances. If a kid is out for a week sick, things tend to build up. And I don't want to get them jammed up with all their other classes. We work it out from there. I also want them to do it during a free period, the makeup, like a lunch or a study hall period. So that way they're in class and they're learning and they don't fall far behind. So that's something to consider as well. Extra help, I'm here and can be here by appointment after school. So I just ask that your child just go ahead and come up to me and say, listen, I don't understand something, or can you go over something with me on the homework? I'm happy to help. Many times I will offer extra help on exam days in the AM. 7 a.m. before homeroom starts, we'll hang out here for 20 minutes and we'll go ahead and do our thing. So, I hope that your child stops by for that. Please, if you have any questions whatsoever, because the success of your child is what's most important here, please get in touch with me. Email is usually the best way to do it. lmedeiros@islandtrees.net, just like you see here on your screen, or lmedeiros@islandtrees.org. That still works as well. You could even access that by the high school homepage off of the district website. Go to the social studies department, find my name, click on it, and you'll be able to send me an email directly from there. Or you could go old school. Call the high school, 520-2136. You could definitely get in touch with me there. Please follow me on Twitter at ITHS Medeiros. Periodically, I'm putting stuff up there. And, I hope that you get in touch. All right? The last thing I want to leave you with is a little bit of homework for you. And I mentioned Remind before. You've probably done this, and this is the last time I'm going to speak to you before we leave here. You might have done this with other classes. You might have seen this also in the course outline. I'm hoping that you go ahead and join the Remind system. So my homework for you is this. If you've done it in the past, whether you work with the app or you just work with the push notifications on your cell phone, send a text message to 81010, just like you see highlighted here. And in the body of the message, type at 11R USHG, 11R US History and Government. So that's the code that you type in, no quote marks there, just the at 11R USHG in the message body. Please wait for the confirmation of joining the class. You'll get one saying that it's successful, that you're in. Please feel free to do that. And that way you get the text messages that your kid gets. And even when I do homework at the beginning of the week, you see the homework sheet, okay? Because I know, Google Classroom's not always available for you. So please go ahead and do so at your convenience. And I appreciate that. So again, any questions, feel free to contact me once again. If you haven't, if you didn't notice yet, in terms of the contact information, there it is one more time. All right. Also, one last thing about email, just so we're on the same page about this. I think the past couple of years, part of that is just natural changes in life. I've got an 11th grader. My daughter is an 11th grader. My son's a 10th grader. So I'm involved with them in terms of athletics, work, all this kind of stuff. And also I have parents, that they're elderly, they're very old now. So I'm responsible for taking care of things with them. So I'm constantly on the move. That being said, If it's not a real urgent situation, email me at night. I may not get in touch with you. And that's part of that is just the past couple of years too. Like, I'm reserving that time for my family, and I think you can understand that. I wouldn't expect you to get in touch with me immediately thereafter either. Usually, I try to keep it for business hours. If you don't hear from me in an evening, you'll probably hear from me the next day. If you email me during school hours, if I have an answer right away, I get right in touch with you. Okay. Same thing if you call the school, then I'll probably call you back. I'm in the main office on discipline duty, so I will call you back at that time. All right. If you have any other questions, again, feel free to get in touch with me. And once again, I encourage you, go ahead and join Remind, please. All right. I hope we have a great year, and I appreciate you sitting around and listening to my spiel here. All right. Take care.